Knock knock, who's there? It was a dark and rainy night. The kind of night when everything feels just a little strange. The wind outside made soft howling sounds, and the rain hit the windows like tapping fingers. Inside the small house, Jay sat alone. A warm cup of coffee in his hands, and a movie playing on the TV. He wasn't expecting any visitors. In fact, he lived far from the city, in a quiet area where even the mailman didn't come every day. That's why he froze when he heard it, knock at the door, knock. Jay looked up. Confused, it was almost midnight. Who could it be? He waited for a moment. Maybe he imagined it. Then again, knock. That's louder. Slower, like someone didn't just want to knock, but needed to. Jay stood up slowly. He wasn't scared, not yet. But something about the sound felt wrong. He walked to the door and peeked through the small window. At first, he saw nothing. Just darkness and rain. But then he saw her. A tall figure stood in the rain. A woman. She was not wearing a coat, but she didn't look cold. Her skin, it wasn't normal. It had a soft blue glow, like moonlight. Her eyes were large and silver. Like mirrors, in her hand she held a strange object. It was glowing too. A cube, shining softly in the rain. Jay blinked. Was this a prank? A costume? A new neighbor playing some weird joke? He opened the door slowly. Can I help you? He asked, keeping one hand on the door. The woman looked at him. Her voice was calm, but shaking. Please, I need help. I have nowhere else to go. Jay stepped back. Are you hurt? Do you need an ambulance? She shook her head. No, I need you. Excuse me? Her silver eyes filled with emotion. I lost my mate. My people are gone. My children need a father. You are compatible. Jay stared at her. Okay, I think you should come inside. You're clearly, going through something. She nodded and took a step forward. Then, without warning, her knees gave out. The cube fell from her hand and landed softly on the floor, still glowing. She collapsed, her body cold and shaking. Jay caught her just in time. She was lighter than she looked. Almost too light. Hey, don't pass out on me. He shouted. But she was already unconscious. Jay pulled her inside and closed the door quickly. The wind outside was getting stronger, almost angry. He looked down at the glowing cube. It was making a soft humming sound now, like a machine waiting for instructions. He looked at the woman lying on his couch. Her skin had small glowing lines running across it like circuitry. She wasn't wearing anything that looked like earth clothes. Her dress looked like it was made of liquid glass, changing color as it dried. Jay rubbed his face. Okay, this is either a dream or I just let an alien into my house. He didn't call the police. He didn't even call his friend Sam, who would have totally told him to run. Instead, he sat near her, watching her breathe, slowly, softly, like she wasn't just tired but broken. The cube suddenly made a loud click and began projecting a light. A hologram appeared in the air. Jay jumped back. It was a city. No, a world. Beautiful and floating in space. Then fire, explosions, screams, alien creatures tall, sharp, and terrifying attacking. Buildings falling, children running. A man, blue like the woman, holding her hand, shouting something. Then, silence. The man was gone. Only she remained. The hologram disappeared. Jay sat there, mouth open. He looked at the woman again. For the first time, he realized this wasn't a joke. This wasn't a dream. She was real, and she came here. For him. He stood up and looked. Out the window, there was nothing outside. No car, no spaceship. Just rain and wind. But deep down, Jay knew this night had changed his life forever. He looked back at her and whispered, "Who the hell are you?" The cube blinked once, then showed a new word, help. Truth bombs and Deanna drama. Jay didn't sleep that night. How could he? There was a glowing blue alien woman unconscious on his couch, and a floating cube that showed him a war from another world. He kept pacing around his living room. The rain outside was still falling, but now the wind had gone quiet. Too quiet. He kept glancing at the cube on the table. It wasn't doing anything anymore. Just softly pulsing with light, like it was breathing. Jay didn't dare touch it. Not yet. The woman, the alien, was still unconscious, but her breathing was steady. He'd put a blanket over her, not that she seemed cold. Her skin, even while resting, gave off a soft, warm glow, like a nightlight set to alien elegance. Jay sat down on the armchair and stared at her. "Who are you?" he whispered again. Suddenly the cube blinked. Then she moved. Her eyes opened. Slowly, silver and deep. She looked around the room, confused for a second, then saw Jay. Her expression softened. "You brought me inside," she said. Jay nodded, still unsure what to say. "Yeah, you kinda collapsed. And, your cube played me a horror movie. In 3D, she sat up slowly. "You saw it. The war. The destruction. Your family?" She nodded once. "My mate, my world, all gone." Jay sat forward. "I need answers, fast. Who are you, really? What are you doing here? And what do you mean by I'm compatible? Compatible for what?" The woman closed her eyes and took a deep breath. "My name is Silyara," she said. "I'm from a planet called Elian. Our kind, we are called the Alari. We once lived in peace. We had knowledge, art, science beyond your imagination. But we were hunted, destroyed by a species called the Vorthal." Jay raised an eyebrow. "Vorthal. Sounds like evil space lizards." "Close," she said. "They are machines. Sentient machines, cold, hungry for life. They destroyed over 12 civilizations before reaching Elian. We were not prepared." Jay swallowed. "And your mate?" "Commander Talrin, my partner. We fought together. We had children, created through bond links. But he was killed saving us. I escaped with one chance. One genetic cube meant to preserve our lineage." She pointed to the glowing object. "It needs a second code. A second half. That's where you come in." Jay's jaw dropped. "Wait, so when you said I'm compatible, you meant reproductive compatible?" Silyara nodded. "Your DNA, your human biology, it matches with the Alari core code. It's rare, beyond rare." Jay leaned back. "You gotta be kidding me. Out of billions of people on Earth, you found me?" She stared at him with that strange, unreadable expression. "You weren't chosen by accident. What does that mean?" Before she could answer, the cube lit up again. A soft humming filled the room. A hologram appeared, this time of Earth. A red light began blinking on the side of the image. A location. His house. Jay stood up. "What the hell is that?" Silyara looked alarmed. "They've tracked me." "The Vorthal?" She nodded. "The cube was never meant to be used alone for long. It sent a signal too much energy. They'll come looking." Jay's mouth went dry. "We need to hide. Call someone." "The military." "No," she interrupted. "Your military is not ready. If they detect the Vorthal, they will panic, attack, and be destroyed. You must come with me. Now." Jay laughed nervously. "Lady, I'm not going anywhere. I just met you. You passed out, dropped a space Rubik's Cube on my carpet, and now I'm part of an alien DNA experiment." Suddenly, bang, a loud noise shook the house. The lights flickered. Jay ran to the window. Nothing. But then, he saw it. Floating in the sky, almost invisible in the rain, was a small sphere. Smooth, silent, red light blinking in the center. "What is that?" Jay whispered. "A scout drone," Silyara said calmly. "Vorthal tech. It's scanning for life signatures." Jay ducked behind the wall. Can it see us? It already has. The cube on the table suddenly started vibrating. Then it clicked. Open like a flower blooming. A small metal arm rose out, holding a silver needle. What is that supposed to be? Jay asked, backing away. Saliara stood, her face serious. The bonding protocol. If I use it now, it will encode you. They won't be able to detect you as human anymore. You'll register as part Ilari. You'll be safe. Jay's eyes widen. So wait, this thing stabs me, scrambles my DNA, and makes me part alien? Yes. Will it hurt? Yes. Jay groaned. Fantastic. But before he could argue more, crash, the window exploded. The drone flew in with a high-pitched scream. A red laser shot toward Jay. Saliara moved like lightning. She pushed Jay aside and launched the cube at the drone. It exploded in a flash of blue light. Smoke filled the room. The lights went out. Jay lay on the floor, coughing. The room smelled like burnt metal and ozone. Then he felt something. A sharp sting on his neck. He turned and saw Saliara holding the cube. The needle had just injected him. You'll thank me later, she whispered. Everything went black. Asterisk. The deal and the drone asterisk. Jay woke up gasping for air. His heart thumped like a war drum. He was still on the floor, but something was off. The air felt heavier, like standing inside a thunderstorm. His skin tingled. Every sound echoed strangely in his ears. His vision was blurry, but different. Brighter. Colors were more vivid. Too vivid. He blinked hard, sat up, and stared at his hands. They were glowing, faintly. Blue veins of light ran under his skin, moving like tiny rivers. What the hell did you do to me? He croaked. Saliara stood over him. Her expression unreadable, but her voice soft. I encoded you. You're no longer fully human. Now you're cloaked part Ilari. The Vorthal can't detect you. You're safe. Jay got up slowly. Safe? I just got shot at by a space drone and injected with alien juice. Safe isn't the word I'd use. He staggered to the mirror in the hallway. His reflection looked almost the same except for his eyes. They had a strange silver tint now, like a reflection of stars hidden behind clouds. You'll adjust, she said. Adjust? I look like a rejected Avenger. Saliara didn't smile. She was watching the broken window. That was only a scout. More will come. They never send just one. Jay pointed a shaky finger at her. You need to explain everything. Now no more DNA compatibility talk. No more cryptic half-sentences. You show up at my door, beg for help, blow up my living room, and now my blood glows. She didn't flinch. Instead, she walked to the glowing cube, which now hovered in midair. She tapped it once, and it projected a 3D image, a star map. We don't have time, she said. This planet is compromised. Earth doesn't know it yet, but the Vorthal have already seeded tracking systems in orbit. You are now a beacon. You carry the last fragment of my people's legacy. If they find you, they'll burn this world to ash just to stop us. Jay stared at the star map. So, what, we run? Yes, where? She tapped a blue star cluster. There's a safe haven. Hidden inside a dead asteroid. A place called Sanctuary 9. Other survivors may be there. It's our only chance. Jay folded his arms. Okay, hold up. Let's say I go along with this space road trip idea. You still haven't told me why me. How did you find me? Why not someone smarter, stronger, or, less likely to panic when stuff explodes? She looked at him, and this time her voice broke just a little. Because my mate chose you. Jay blinked. What? Saliara touched the cube again. A new image played. It showed her partner, Commander Tulren. His voice filled the room, calm and noble. If I don't make it, use the code we found on Earth. The human male with the signal pattern, his DNA matches. He's a perfect blend of raw instinct and emotional code. He can continue the legacy. He's unpredictable. And sometimes, that's exactly what we need. Jay stared at the image. He picked me? Why? Saliera said quietly. Because you were broadcasting. You didn't know it. You had a small device, your smartwatch. One of your apps was reverse pinging alien tech. The cube responded to that frequency. Jay pulled off the old smartwatch on his wrist. You're telling me my step counter got me into a space war? She nodded. He sighed. I knew I should have updated the damn thing. Suddenly the cube began to scream. Not a loud sound, but a piercing one. High-pitched, mechanical. Saliera went stiff. They're here. Jay turned toward the window. From the sky, they descended 3 more drones, larger this time. Sleek, black, insect-like with glowing red cores. One began scanning the area. Another aimed a long metallic arm at the house. They're targeting the structure, she said. Jay ran to the kitchen, grabbed his old baseball bat. This is all I've got. Saliera raised her palm and summoned a strange blue disc from her wrist. That'll do. Aim for the core. Before he could argue, the first blast hit. The living room wall exploded inwards. Flames burst into the hallway. A metallic limb reached in like a claw, scanning rapidly. Jay ducked and rolled as the cube zipped past him. It flew into the air and projected a shield dome around the room. Just in time to block a red beam. Saliera shouted, "Run!" They bolted for the basement door. Jay led the way down, coughing as smoke filled the air. The drones outside were tearing the house apart. In the basement, Saliera tapped the wall 3 times. It opened, revealing something Jay had absolutely not expected. A spaceship. Small, sleek, folded into the shape of a delivery truck. Covered in earth dust and old tarps. What the? You've had a ship this whole time? She raised an eyebrow. You thought I Ubered here? They jumped inside as another explosion shook the house above. Saliera slammed her hand on a control panel. The ship came alive, lights flashing, engines warming up. The entire basement began to collapse. Hold on, she shouted. Jay gripped the seat and screamed as the ship launched straight through the ceiling, tearing through his house. Like paper. Debris flew everywhere. The ship zoomed into the sky, dodging lasers, spinning around trees, and finally breaking through the clouds. Behind them, the house exploded in red fire. Jay sat there breathless, covered in dust, sweat, and disbelief. My house, he whispered. My couch, my TV, my Xbox. Saliera gave a faint smile. You have a ship now. Does it play Netflix? She ignored him and pulled up a screen. We've broken orbit. Scanning for jump point. Jay looked out the window. Earth was growing smaller. You're really taking me into space, he said, voice half amazed, half horrified. She turned to him. You're not just in space, Jay. You're now a target. A protector, a legacy. And the only chance the Ilarian, possibly your planet, have left. Jay sat back and whispered, I need a sandwich. The cube floated between them, pulsing softly. Then, without warning, it spoke. A robotic voice. Warning. Unknown signal detected. Pursuit continues. Estimated arrival, 12 hours. Jay looked at Saliera. She looked worried. The ship went silent, and the stars got a little darker. Escape to the stars. Jay had never left Earth before. Not even on a plane. Now he was riding a spaceship, speeding through space like a bullet in a cosmic gunfight. The ship was small but fast, like a sports car with jet engines and way too many blinking buttons. Saliera sat in the pilot seat, focused, her silver eyes scanning holographic screens that floated around her. The glowing cube hovered silently nearby, still pulsing like a heartbeat. Jay sat in the co-pilot chair with a blanket over his shoulders and a stunned expression on his face. So, he said after a long silence, that was my house. Saliera. Didn't look at him. Correction. Your house in flames. We survived. That's what matters. Jay looked out the window. Earth was a blue marble now, quiet and beautiful. Can I just say, he muttered, this is not how I expected my Tuesday to go. Where the hell are we going? Jay broke the silence again. This time louder. Selyara finally turned. We're heading to Sanctuary 9. It's a secret base built inside an asteroid belt. It's protected by a cloaking field and old tech that the Vorthal can't hack. If we make it there, we can regroup, gather help, and maybe rebuild. Jay leaned back. And what exactly do I do there? Be a glorified space dad? Donate DNA while everyone else does the real work? Selyara stared at him, eyes unreadable. You are more important than you think. Yeah, that's the part that keeps freaking me out, he said. The night sky is not EMPT with. They cruised past the moon in minutes. Jay watched in wonder as space unfolded in front of him. A deep sea of black, dotted with stars. But something about it didn't feel peaceful. There's so much. Silence, he whispered. Cell. YRR nodded. Space is never silent. It just hides its screams well. Just then, the ship's system pinged. A low, pulsing chime. Object detected, said the robotic voice. Derelict vessel. Minimal power signature. Broadcasting distress. Jay sat up. Wait, someone's out there? Selyara frowned. It could be a trap. Jay pointed at the screen. But it might not be. If it were you floating in the dark, wouldn't you want someone to stop? There was a pause. Selyara sighed. 10 minutes, in and out. If it even twitches, we burn it. The ghost Sci-Fi, the derelict ship, was massive like a broken cathedral floating in space. The outside was covered in burn marks, chunks missing, lights flickering. A name was scratched into the hull. The Arkansas. Selyara docked them. Carefully, she handed Jay a glowing bracelet. Translator. Emergency comes. Also a light. Try not to drop it. Jay glanced down. Cool, Space Apple Watch. Inside, the airlock creaked open, and Jay stepped into a corridor that smelled like dust, oil, and something wrong. Lights flickered. Something hummed in the walls. Hello? He called out. A voice crackled over his cum. Do not touch anything. Unless I tell you. These ships sometimes carry Vorthal remnants. Fantastic, he muttered. As they moved deeper into the ship, they found signs of life, but barely. A group of strange, hunched-over beings sat in silence. Their skin was gray-blue, eyes wide with fear. Selyara spoke to them in a language Jay couldn't understand. Then the translator kicked in. Help us. It hunts the light. It eats the code. Jay whispered. What does that mean? Selyara's face darkened. They're survivors from a Vorthal attack, but something followed them here. A sudden scream echoed from deep within the ship. Jay froze. Nope, nope, nope. This is where I draw the line. Another scream, then silence. Then a sound like metal breathing. Selyara turned to him. Back to the ship, now. The whispering. DVIC. As they ran back through the ship, one of the survivors stopped Jay and handed him a small box, cold silver, humming with strange energy. Give this to the last blood of Alien, the alien whispered. It speaks to her kind. It remembers. Selyara froze when she saw it. Her face went pale. What is it? Jay asked. She stared at it, almost in fear. Ancient tech. Forbidden's tech. No one should have this. The alien smiled weakly. And yet, it calls to you. Selyara took it. The moment she did, the cube on their ship lit up violently. Flash in red. Vorthal signal detected, it screamed. The ship around them shuddered. They found us, she hissed. Run! Chased through the VOID, they barely made it back. As they launched from the derelict vessel, they saw it in a dark, spider-like ship crawling through space toward them, cloaked in shadows. The Vorthal ship was massive, silent. It didn't fire weapons. Instead, it began broadcasting a voice. You are carrying something that does not belong. Surrender the code, or perish. Jay stared at the screen. Did that thing just talk? Yes, Celiara said, her hands flying over controls. That's not a drone. That's a sentience-class hunter. It thinks, it learns. And it wants me? It wants what you now carry, the Forbidden's tech. Jay looked at the box in her lap. What does it do? Celiara didn't answer. Asterisk. The Starstorm ESCAP, as they reached the asteroid belt, the ship began firing EMP waves. The control panels blinked wildly. Celiara cursed in a language that probably translated to something unprintable. We can't reach Sanctuary 9 in time. She said, it'll catch us before we finish the jump. Jay looked at the cube. What if I use it? Celiara snapped. Nitrogen monoxide. You don't know what it will do. He stood up. Neither do you. But I didn't come this far just to get hunted like a space chicken. He touched the Forbidden's box. Suddenly, his eyes flashed white. The cube responded, floating toward the ceiling, spinning faster. A new voice echoed inside Jay's head. Calm, mechanical, female. Hello, Ilari human hybrid. Protocol 7 to 9 activated. Guardian mode, online. Jay floated off the floor. Energy pulsed through him. His body lit up with patterns of light and symbols. Celiara gasped. You activated it. The ship jolted. Outside, the Vorthal vessel paused. Then stopped. The lights on its hull dimmed. It was. Retreating. Jay fell to the floor. Coughing. Cell, Ara caught him. What did you do? Jay smiled weakly. I think I scared it. And then, the Amias AGE once inside the asteroid field, they finally found Sanctuary-9. The base was hidden inside a hollowed-out rock, lit with warm lights and guarded by defense satellites. Inside, alien refugees, scientists, soldiers, all survivors moved. With quiet purpose, Jay was taken to a healing pod. His body was weak. The cube floated beside him, calm now. Celiara stood nearby, watching him silently. Then the Forbidden's box lit up. It spoke one line. In both their languages, the last code has awakened. The Vorthal are not hunting you. They are afraid of what you may become. Training day. Jay awoke inside a glowing egg. No, really. It was an actual pod, shaped like an egg, humming with soft blue light. His body floated in warm gel, and alien symbols danced across the curved glass above his head. He blinked, groaned, and said the first thing that came to mind. I better not be breakfast, a mechanical voice answered. Vital signs, stable. Mental state, sarcastic. Recovery, 93% complete. The pod cracked open. Jay slid out like a wet noodle onto the floor. He coughed, groaned again, and stood up, now wearing a simple gray bodysuit that fit way too well. Okay. Not the worst hangover I've had. The room was round and silver, with pulsing walls and one large screen on the far side. Sanctuary 9. Wasn't what he expected. It was clean, organized, and very alien. Everything had an intelligent design, nothing wasted. Even the furniture looked like it could calculate your taxes. A door opened with a hiss. Celiara entered, wearing a fresh uniform, her expression unreadable as always. You look alive, she said. Barely, Jay replied. How long was I out? 4 days, Jay froze. 4 days? What am I, a hibernating squirrel? The bonding process took a toll on your body, she said. You're lucky the Forbidden's tech didn't fry your brain. Good to know. Next time I activate ancient space relics, I'll wear gloves. Level 1. Don't. Celiara walked him through the corridors of Sanctuary 9. Jay saw aliens of every kind, some tall and graceful, others small and robotic. A few nodded at him. Others stared, whispered, He's the hybrid. That's him. Is he really bonded with the Guardian Cube? Jay whispered to Celyara. Okay, people are staring. Do I have something on my face, or am I just that? Famous now? You carry the last legacy of Elyon, she said. To them, you're either hope or a walking time bomb. Jay frowned. Well, that's comforting. He was led to a training chamber. It looked like a gym and a spaceship. Had a baby, the walls shifted. Platforms floated. Weapons glowed in glass cases. Celyara handed him a silver disc. Put this on your wrist. Jay strapped it on. Instantly, it lit up with symbols and a single word, begin. Before he could say, what's happening, a drone dropped from the ceiling and shot a laser blast at his face. Jay screamed, dropped to the ground and yelled, why is everything here trying to kill me? Celyara folded her arms. It's a training drone. Jay rolled out of the way of another blast. Bennett's doing a great job. Level 2. Remember who you aren't, few vase Judays. Jay was trained in everything. Alien tech. Energy. Weapons. Hand-to-hand combat. He got flipped by a 6-armed lizard named Frixa more times than he'd like to admit. Meditation using bioresonance, which felt like trying to nap during an earthquake. And most terrifying of all, parenting protocols. Yes, Sanctuary 9 had bots designed to teach potential father units how to care for hybrid children. One small floating robot followed him everywhere, chirping cheerfully, hello, daddy unit. Ready to learn diaper holography? Jay whispered to Celyara, I'd rather fight the space drones again. She just smirked, but not everything was jokes. The cube had bonded to him permanently now. He could sense energy, read alien code, even move small machines just by focusing. But each time he used the power, he felt something change inside him, like something old was watching. A secret UNLOCKD. One night, Jay was alone in the meditation chamber. He touched the cube, and it reacted. It projected a map of ancient Elyon. He saw the temples, the skies, the people. But then, something new. A hidden file. A voice played. Female. Soft. Celyara's voice. If you're hearing this, it means the cube chose you. That means I lied to you. Jay froze. You weren't just chosen. You were created for this. The cube didn't just find you. It reached back through space and pulled your frequency into existence. Jay's breath caught in his throat. You were always meant to bond with it. You are the lock and the key. I didn't tell you. Because if I had, you might have said no. The message ended. Jay sat in silence, the cube pulsing quietly beside him. Level 3, Sioneferun de Teoan. The next day, Jay confronted her. You lied. To me, he said. Celyara stood by the observation deck, staring into space. I didn't lie. I omitted. Jay laughed bitterly. Omitted? You literally helped create me. What am I? A science project. You're more than that, she said softly. You're everything we couldn't be. Part human, part Ilari, the bridge, the weapon, the future. I'm also angry, Jay snapped. You took away my choice, she turned. And if I had given it to you, would you have stayed on Earth? Waited for the Vorthal to turn your planet into dust? Jay didn't answer. TWYST. Later that night, the cube pulsed again. A new signal, a message, broken, intercepted. Jay, if you're hearing this, I'm from Earth, and I'm like you. They lied to you. The cube isn't saving you, it's using you. Jay blinked. What the hell? If you activate the Guardian fully, you'll open a door, and once it's open, it won't close again. Don't trust Celyara. Don't trust the cube. Trust your humanity. The message ended. Jay stood in the dark, cold sweat on his skin. He wasn't alone. There were others, and not everyone agreed on what he should become. And then, the alarm. Just as Jay walked out of the chamber, the base lights turned red. Sirens wailed. Solyara appeared beside him. They found us again. Jay's eyes widened. The Vorthal? She nodded. No. Not just them. Something worse. He looked at the cube. It was shaking now, for the first time. It looked afraid. The attack, the sirens in Sanctuary 9 screamed like dying stars. Jay raced down the corridor. Suit half-zipped, the glowing cube zipping beside him like a panicked firefly. The walls pulsed red, lights flickering with each rumble of the asteroid base. It felt like the whole rock was cracking open. Is this a drill? He shouted. No drill, Solyara said, appearing beside him in full battle armor, her face grim. The Vorthal are here, and they brought something new. Jay narrowed his eyes. Define new. She stopped at a control panel, slammed her hand on it. A hologram bloomed. A massive bone-white ship hovering just outside the asteroid belt. Unlike the sleek Vorthal drones, this one looked ancient. Like it had grown over time, organic, ugly. Jay swallowed hard. That thing looks like a tumor in space. Solyara didn't blink. It's a Harvester-class Leviathan. We thought they were extinct. Why call it a Harvester? That doesn't sound friendly. She turned to him. Because it doesn't kill. It consumes. They know you're here. The cube was glowing brighter than ever now, almost burning to the touch. Jay stood with the others in the command chamber. Dozens of alien refugees and warriors gathered around, listening as the Sanctuary 9 AI replayed the intercepted transmission. You are harboring the hybrid. Return him, and you may live. Protect him, and you die. Jay raised a hand. Okay. Quick poll, who wants to vote me off the asteroid? No one laughed. Solyara took a step forward. We fight. We protect the Guardian. One of the generals, a broad-shouldered alien with tusks and half a robotic skull, snorted. He's not ready. The boy barely knows how to channel the cube. I'm standing right here, Cyborg Shrek, Jay muttered. Silence, the general barked. We cannot defend against a Leviathan. This base was never built for war. Jay stepped forward. Then don't fight for me. Fight for yourselves. For your homes. Because if that thing gets through, we won't be having this debate again, ever. Solyara looked at him, surprised. That wasn't sarcasm, that was leadership. The first Estia Reich, an hour later. The base trembled again. This time not from an external blast. From within. A Vorthal spike had broken through the outer asteroid shell. A tunnel of bone and metal pushed in like a drill made from nightmares. Smaller drones began to crawl out, silent, spidery, red-eyed things. And worse, they didn't attack. Not yet. They scanned. They observed, waiting. Jay, armored and cube-powered, joined a defense squad in the corridor near the breach. A child screamed behind him. An alien toddler pulled away by its mother as the wall twisted with machine tendrils. Jay stepped forward. Let's find out what they're waiting for. He extended his arm. The cube responded instantly, unfolding like a lotus of energy. A brilliant light shot from his palm. The lead drone screamed. The others followed. Suddenly, chaos. A war in the HLLs. The battle spread fast, corridors becoming kill zones. Bunkers turning into war zones. Jay fought like he'd never trained for this, but somehow the cube guided him. Every movement flowed. Every blast from his hand was sharper, faster, like something buried in his DNA had woken up. But each time he used it, he felt a pull. Something in the cube was watching, measuring. Feeding. Sacrifices in the northern wing. Solyara led a team to evacuate the young and wounded. Jay caught up to her just as a Vorthal crawler burst through the floor. She tackled him out of the way. The crawler lunged, and a bolt of green energy exploded through its head. Jay turned. It was General Threx, the tusked cyborg. He grunted. Told you he wasn't ready. Guess I was wrong. Jay smiled. You're not bad for a discount Darth Vader. The general rolled his eyes. Then he exploded. A second crawler detonated beside him's self-destruct mode. His sacrifice had saved the hallway. Jay screamed, but Celiara pulled him back. Move! Truth REVEL'd after hours of fighting. Sanctuary 9's main reactor was failing. The Leviathan had begun a slow descent, growing roots through the asteroid. Time was up. Jay stood in the command chamber, breathing hard, wounded, angry. The cube floated silently beside him. Celiara approached with a grim expression. We can't hold the base. Jay slammed his fist on the console. Then what do we do? Her eyes shimmered. We open the vault. Jay looked at her. What vault? She turned to the others. Sanctuary 9 wasn't just a base. It was a lab. Hidden deep below is the original Ilari seed core, the blueprint of our species. The cube is the key. Jay blinked. You want to use the cube to restart your race. Now, while we're being murdered. She looked at him, pain on her face. Not restart, not just Ilari with your DNA. We can create something new, a hybrid species, one that can survive the Vorthal, one they can't control. He stared at her and then whispered, Is that what this was all along? Not saving me, not protecting Earth, just turning me into a damn incubator? Celiara's voice broke. It started that way, but it's not just that anymore. Jay stepped back. The cube glowed brighter, angry, alive. Too late, he muttered. They're already inside. The Guardian AWAKN's, the Leviathan's core, pierced the ceiling above them. Black roots and red light poured in. Drones swarmed the chamber. Celiara shouted, Jay, use the cube, now! Jay hesitated. Then he closed his eyes and let go. The cube exploded with light. Jay rose into the air glowing, burning with power. Symbols danced across his skin. His voice echoed through the chamber, layered with thousands of other voices. Protocol override. Guardian-class entity online. He unleashed a blast of energy that vaporized the invading drones. The Leviathan shrieked. Celiara looked up in awe. And fear. Jay descended slowly, breathing hard, his eyes glowing silver white. I can end this, he whispered. But if I do, I don't know what I'll become. Celiara stepped toward him. You'll become who you were meant to be. Jay shook his head. No, I'll become something they're all afraid of. The Leviathan core cracked above. More drones surged in, and Jay, the last human hybrid, stepped forward. I'm not your weapon. I'm your end. A new beginning. Jay hovered above the battlefield. His body shimmered like stardust wrapped in lightning. The Guardian cube orbited him, spinning faster than ever, humming with ancient power. Below, Sanctuary 9 was crumbling, drones flooding in through breach after breach, survivors screaming, the Leviathan above them all, drilling deeper, hungrier. And yet, in this moment, Jay felt calm. He saw time folding around him like pages in a book. He saw the birth of stars, the death of worlds, the faces of the Ilari, and something worse. He saw the truth. The voice in the cube. Jay, you are not simply a guardian. You are the reset protocol. The voice inside his head wasn't robotic anymore. It was his own voice, split into thousands of echoes. If the Leviathan consumes this base, it will trigger a chain reaction. All remaining Ilari DNA, yours included, will be copied and then erased. The cycle ends here. Jay's hands trembled. And if I stop it? Then the cycle continues. The cube evolves, you ascend. Your humanity will not survive it. His heart sank. So I get to choose. Kill the monster and lose myself, or die a man. Precisely. And the decision must be made. Now, Celiara's final SEC. Suddenly, a voice called out from below. Jay. He turned. Celiara stood on the broken bridge below, limping, armor cracked, but alive. Her eyes locked with his, not glowing, not cold, just Human, don't listen to the cube, she shouted over the chaos. It doesn't understand choice, only purpose. Jay hovered lower. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Her voice cracked. Because I was afraid you'd run. But I see now. You were never meant to run. You were meant to choose. He dropped to the ground. So help me choose. What do we do? She took his hand. We don't do what they planned. We do something new. The cube flared with blue light. A mechanical shriek echoed. Interference detected. Core detachment unauthorized. Initiating override. Jay winced. His skin burned. The cube was fighting back. The Leviathan DCS above them. The ceiling cracked wide open. The Leviathan lowered a massive tendril part machine. Part bone. Covered in glowing red scars. It wasn't just trying to destroy the base. It was reaching for Jay. He felt it in his mind like static crawling across his thoughts. An ancient hunger, not evil. Just endless. It whispered in a voice older than time. Give me the seed. End the loop. Jay stood tall, arms out, energy rising. Celiara looked at him. This is it, your call. You can burn it all down. Or give us another chance. Jay took a deep breath. Then he smiled. The human Soyutiaonjay turned to the cube. His eyes flashed silver. New protocol. The cube spun. Unrecognized command. Jay clenched his fists. It is now. Protocol Human 1. Screw your prophecy. The cube spasmed. Does not compute. Jay reached inside himself, not into the cube, but into the part of him the cube didn't understand. The human part. The stubborn, angry, hopeful, stupid part. The part that still believed people could change. He poured that emotion into the cube, not code, not commands. But will. The cube shuddered. And obeyed. The ascension. And a Rejay light exploded from Jay's chest. The Leviathan screamed. For one brief moment, Jay became everything. Alari, human, guardian, weapon, God. He felt the power to crush planets in his hand. He saw how he could end the Vorthal forever. He saw how he could rule. And then he let it go. Jay pulled the energy inward, twisted the cube's core, and forced it into a new state. Self-destruct protocol activated. Guardian class nullified. Host identity retained. The cube screened shards of code raining like glass. Jay fell from the sky like a comet, crashing into the Leviathan's core. Boom. The blast that saved a species light, brighter than a supernova, filled the asteroid. Then silence. Jay lay at the center of a crater, eyes closed, body still glowing faintly. The Leviathan was gone. Nothing left but ash and floating data fragments. Sanctuary 9 was damaged. But alive. The refugees, warriors, scientists, everyone gathered around him, silent, awestruck. Celiara knelt beside him. Jay, she whispered. He opened one eye. Please tell me you brought snacks. She laughed, really laughed for the first time. You idiot, she said. You saved us. He smiled. Did I also stop glowing like a galactic light bulb? Mostly. 1 month later the base was repaired. The survivors had begun rebuilding. The cube was gone, scattered into harmless fragments across the stars. Jay sat in a garden, yes, an actual alien garden, with floating vines and glowing petals, watching children play. He was at peace. Cell, Yara joined him, sitting close. So, she said, what now? Jay shrugged. We rebuild. Protect Earth. Maybe open a coffee shop, she smirked. With alien espresso? Strong enough to bend time. They laughed. Then a signal chimed. A new transmission. A face appeared on the holoscreen, a human face. This is Commander Ellis from the Deep Earth Signal Project. We've received fragments of an unknown AI and a warning. Earth's next. Jay stood slowly. Celiara looked up at him. You ready to be a hero again? Jay cracked his knuckles. Nah. I'm ready to be me. Asterisk. This is the story of the boy who answered the door and changed the stars. He was never chosen. He just chose.